What's up, everybody? My name is Juwan Rohan, and this is the Misguided Podcast, where we intend to guide you to a better future. I'm sitting here with Breyanni, the entrepreneur from Vallejo. What's good?
What it do?
What it do? How you doing today? It's a Sunday morning, 9 a.m.
Yes, it is Sunday morning. The birds are chirping and the sun is out, so it's a good morning.
It is. The sun is out. It's been it's weird because we had all them storms, and then the last 3 days kind of has just been sunny and feeling good outside.
Yeah, somewhat. I heard about a tsunami warning.
Tsunami, yeah, that's in Santa Clara though. It ain't here.
Okay, cool.
Or Santa Cruz.
Over there.
Yeah. But yeah, that's crazy. Cool. Well, we'll go ahead and get into your story. For those wondering, I found Breyanni through Insta, or I think it was originally Twitter, to be honest, Twitter. And I saw a game, a board game it kept being retweeted, and I was like, oh, let me check this out. And then I saw you was from Vallejo, and I was like, oh shit, that's right down the street. I'm from Benicia. Oh, well, I'm not from Benicia. I live in Benicia, but
okay.
And so I was like, oh, I definitely got to support, and let me check it out. And then it's like,
that'd
be a dope interview. Yeah. Cool. So where are you from?
So I'm from Vallejo, from the V.
From the V. So you always lived in the V?
Well, before that I lived in Richmond.
Okay.
And I was 12 when we moved to Vallejo. So when I started going to I was going to school across the bridge, but then when I was 12 and 7, I started going to school in Vallejo.
What school did you go to?
I went to Solano.
Oh, okay. And then what about?
That's where I learned all my game.
Yeah. What about on the other side?
On the other side, I went to Harding. It was an elementary school.
Oh,
and I went to Kensington, which is an elementary school out that way too.
Yeah. Kensington. That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So you definitely from the V. Cool. So I want to talk about the stuff that you do. Just go ahead right off the bat and let everyone know your entrepreneurial endeavors.
Well, I started out, what was that, 2016? I had a boutique, and I was selling clothes, I buy from a manufacturer and then I just resell them. That was fun, but it got to the point, and I know a lot of people be like, oh, there's a lot of bread aisles, there's so many breads on the aisle, blah blah. But I started to feel like I've always liked to kind of be outside, step outside the box a little bit, and I kind of started to feel like this was something that was just very oversaturated. And I started to feel if I go to a vendor event and people are like, oh, what do? You have a boutique? It's yeah, you already know what I got.
You're not even happy to say it anymore.
Right. It was kind of it was fun for me because I really got into it because it was fun. I like fashion, stuff like that, but it was kind of so through the start of the pandemic, this board game just kind of blew up. I didn't expect, it's not something that I sat down and was like, oh, I'm going to do board games. It just blew up and it took off. And so it kind of allowed me to kind of, leave my boutique kind of in the past and focus on this. So, really more so kind of for, as far as the entrepreneurial, that is the two businesses that I've had so far. So right now, my boutique is still kind of floating in the matrix, but I'm focusing on this now. So
I feel it. And I saw that you do some singing. And so you want to touch in on that? Is that gonna be a new endeavor you're gonna try and go after, or what?
Yeah, I kind of feel I'm at the age now, because when I was younger, I kind of was just always scared to sing. And it's I'm at the age now where, it's kind of look, girl, you're too old to be, you're too old to be scared. And then when I sat down with myself and was kind of what are you scared for?
Yeah.
I didn't really have many answers, So saying all that to say, this year, I'm hoping to kind of get more into my singing bag too. Mm-hmm. It just allows me to be more serious, I feel like. And I'm always kind of goofing and playing around. I feel with singing, I have to be so serious. So that's the I'm trying to get out of that. But hopefully, or this year, I'm getting more into my music bag too. So I'm trying to dip into every talent that I can, honestly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, that's what's up. Cool. So this board game, how like obviously you don't grow up and you're like, I want to make a board game.
Right.
So how did this start brewing? Was it like when you first thought about it, were you in the shower? Like, you know, that's where all the thoughts come.
Man, absolutely not. And that's what's crazy. It's like this was really like something like literally overnight. So basically me and my friends had a game night, and one of my friends had found something, you know, like I don't know where she found it on or whatever, but she was like, oh, we should play this. So I'm like, okay, you know, cool. Like, you know, so I like to write just in general. So when I saw it and like I saw like the opportunity to write like this big thing, I'm like, oh, I want to write it. So when I started writing it, like I said, I'm a little goofy.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started writing it, there was things that I'm like, oh no, we're not gonna say that. We're gonna put, but can I cuss on here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure. But I'm like, you know, we're gonna put ass, and we're gonna put like at the end of the game, it was like game over, like it was like stuff like that where it just made it fun. So we played it, and when we played it, we just had hella fun. So I posted on my Instagram and I'm like, y'all, if y'all want to get drunk, and this was right at the beginning of the pandemic, everybody wanted to get drunk. You know, it's like, what else is there left to do? So I'm like, you know, y'all play this game, you know, like it's fun, blah, blah, blah. So maybe like a month or two went by, and one of my friends had hit me and was like, hey, like, you think you can make me one of those drinking board games? I'll pay you. And I'm thinking in my head, like, I didn't even know people were still thinking about this. You know, I wasn't thinking anything of it. This is like a month or two down the line. So I'm like, yeah. So I get to the store and I just start picking up hella stuff. Like I see cups, like little shot glasses. I'm like, oh, yep, I'm gonna add that. And I'm like, oh, she's gonna need something that she can use. Cause when we originally played the game, we just used whatever we had around.
Yeah.
So I'm like, she's gonna need something to use, you know, she's paying me. So I'm in there, I'm looking for all type of stuff. So I end up making the game. I posted on my Instagram, and overnight, like 40 people had hit me and was like, I want one, like make me one, blah, blah, blah. I did not think it was going to be all of that, and be completely honest. And so when I posted it, and the next morning I woke up, I'm like, okay,
yeah,
it's a business, you know, like it's time to get this popping. So once I did that, it was kind of like, they just started coming in. It was like, my weekends were gone, my days were gone. But at the time I had got laid off from my job because of COVID. Mm-hmm. So it's crazy because I had sat down, I had got all these notebooks, and I was just kind of like, what am I going to do? Like, I need to find something that is going to allow me to bring some money in. I was the everything that I had, I was like, okay, you know, this is new, but we're going to do it. Yeah. So say all I had to say, none of the ideas that I had in those books were anything that I did.
Yeah, went to fruition.
Right. This just kind of took off. So yeah, I mean, that's really kind of like just how it started. Once I saw like people was really actually fucking with it, I was like, okay, like I gotta find a way to keep it pushing. Yeah. So that's pretty much just really how it started, and the rest was history. No.
That's awesome. So this board game, is it based off of the board game that you and your friends had the night before, or did you just create a whole nother game? Like, did you kind of change something? Nah, go ahead.
Yeah, I changed a lot of things because my biggest thing is like, I just didn't want it to be, I wanted to be different. Like I wanted to feel like if I was there at the party with you, like it would be something I would say, if that makes sense. Like, okay, you know, take your ass back to start or something like that. Like that's something I would genuinely say. So it's like a lot of the things that I put on there, I tried to make sure that they had like a different type of twist, really, because I didn't want it to be like anything that I've sold prior, because, you know, they already have that. So it's kind of like, you know, some things are going to be the same on there, but for the most part, everything I try to think of so many crazy, outrageous things. Like I would be under the influence, and I would come up with so many funny things because it's like, you know, you are like, oh, this will be hilarious if this is this, and I throw that on there. So I kind of just made sure, like, you know, I changed it. I wanted to change it as much as possible. So, you know, they don't feel like, oh, okay, I'm buying this, but I already got this, you know. A lot of people still have their old boards.
Who's the game targeted to? Obviously, it's not a kids game, but like, is it like targeted towards couples, friend groups? Like, what? Explain the game. How does it work?
So the game, the actual Boardindahouse game, is really like it's like one of many, I guess I could say. So with this particular game, it's really just like there's no like real like objective to it or anything like that. The objective is to get drunk. So it's like with a game, it's like you basically roll your dice and then you move your pawn however many, you know, spaces that you have to land on, and whatever you land on, you have to do it. So like there's like things on there that'll be like, you know, sing everything you say until your next turn. So everything you say, You got to sing it into your next turn, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like some stuff on there. I try to get people like out of their comfort zone. Like I feel like when I originally played the game, like my friend who was like this tough guy and stuff like that, we had him doing a chicken head, like, you know, like, so that was fun to see. So I felt like, you know, I kind of wanted to make everybody else kind of feel that way. So
you definitely got to get drunk to get out of your shell. And
that's what I'm saying. You know, you find out a lot about people, you know. There was times on the original board, it'd be like, you know, if you single, take a shot, and it'd be like, ooh, you know, this is gonna get a little, because some people may think they single and they're not.
Yeah.
So it raised, you know, you find out a lot about people through the game. So this is like I would say like a standard game. Like, you know, it could be played, you know, from, I mean, obviously not kids, but you know, like younger people. Like I feel like really the main goal is towards the culture, really. Like,
yeah,
even like with the images, like things like that. Like I want the girls to be cute. I want them to be hip. Like I want them to look like me, you know? So this one is just a version of it, but there will, like this year, there'll be more versions, you know, that'll be like in, you know, for the game, essentially. So
yeah. So talk about the process of actually creating the game. Like I have no idea. Did you have to YouTube like how the fuck to create the actual board game, the die, the instruction manual?
Lord,
like
it's been a process.
Yeah.
Like this has been something like I knew that I was going to do, but I just didn't know how I was going to do it. Honestly, like I was going around telling people I was going to do it, and I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. Didn't know how I was going to do it. So one day, like literally, I went to Target and I just looked at a board game, like stared at it, and I'm like, what elements do I need? Because there was, before that, I was like, okay, I ordered these boards that already had like a outline on them. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can just get smaller markers. I had got like the skinny Sharpies. I'm like, I could just write in with the smaller markers. I'm like, you know what, that's a little ghetto. We're not doing that, because I felt like a lot of the actual board game, because my handwriting. So I try to keep it, you know, like the same type of thing. And I was like, this is ghetto. You know, I got to find something that's a little bit more, you know, presentable. So I went to Target. I just stared at a board game. I'm like, what elements do I need to be able to create something like this? So I started to Google. And I just started to find like different, you know, manufacturers through stuff like that. I was testing them out. The design itself was basically like, hold on, baby. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Okay, hold on. I'm on the phone real quick. Okay. Hold on. So basically, like how it worked. Sorry, got a kid. So basically,
I know how it is. I got two.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I'm like, look, I told you I'm gonna be in there in a minute.
Yeah.
But no, so basically, it got to the point. It got very frustrating, like to the point where I wanted to just say, you know, fuck this hella times, because I felt like I was copying and pasting the same type of thing to different people to kind of help me to create an image, but nobody could grasp what I was getting. So it was like every time I thought I was this close, it was like, all right, sis, you back to step one. So I finally, like, it got to the point where I just had to, you know, step out on limbs and was like, you know, I don't know this person, but hey, can you help me out? And the last person that I did, they ended up helping me create the image. So like I said, it got to the point where it was like, damn, I'm saying all the same things to these people. Like, you know, like what are they not understanding? So it got to the point where I finally was able to find, you know, something, and, you know, it worked. So
like the process, do you have to get like the cover of the board game first, or like like you put the board game down, do you have to like get a design for what the game is actually going to look like and then how it's going to work, and then you do like the printing? Or wait, how does the process work?
So really, I'm gonna be honest, like of course it was my first time creating a board game, and even like the person that I worked with was their first time too. So the steps were kind of like, we came up with the image, and then we kind of was like able to, I'm sorry, can we hang on for just 1 second? Yes, baby. Yes. Okay, so give me just 1 second. I'll get you more crackers in a minute, okay? Mommy's doing something very important, okay? I'll be in there in a minute. So go ahead and go in there. So yeah, so sorry, my kid. What was the last part of the question? Basically how to
like the process, like because it's like, you know, when you do t-shirts, right? You go to a manufacturer, you get the t-shirt or the garment, and then you go and take it to a screen printing or you do it yourself, right? So that's like, it's obviously more than 2 steps, but let's just say simplified, that's a 2-step process. For the game, like, what do you do first? You have to do the design of the board, right? And then
so the design. So
yeah.
Sorry, you want to cut you off?
No,
But yeah,
I was just gonna say, like, then you do the design, then so you find like someone maybe on like Fiverr to do this design, and then you send that design to like a manufacturer.
So let me tell you something about Fiverr. Okay, that was one of the places that I tried to go through to help me with the design.
Okay,
it was a joke, you know.
Yeah.
The product that they sent to me was like, I just couldn't even believe like this was like a real thing. I was like, is this a joke? So, but basically, like you mentioned, like you go through, you get the design, and then once you have your design, it depends on how complex your game is. The first game that I put out, I feel like it's not that complex. So it's kind of like, you know, it's a very simple board game. So I kept everything very simple. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of easy to create something because the same image that I used for the box, I used for the board and things like that. I already knew what design I wanted for the board. So I would say just really kind of like more so like you get your design, and then you have to test out your product too. Because at first I thought that the box that I ordered was something that I wanted to use. And then when it got here, it was like, you know, this is nice, but you know, it's too big. So then when I thought I was almost finished and I was promising all of these release dates and things like that, and it just was like, every time I promised it, once I got the product, it just was not it. So that was a lot too, because like I said, you can see something online and it'll look like something that you want, and then you get there, it's like, this ain't it. Yeah. So I went through like 3 different box designs before I was able to I got the 4th one. I was like, okay, this one is it. Like, you know, so really I feel like the design, finding your actual product, what you want your box and what you want everything to look like. And then from there, it's a wrap.
No, that's dope. You know, that's dope. And you know what's crazy is like during the pandemic, it made us like kind of revert back to like older eras, right? So like board game, like when the last time I played a board game? Like that's insane, right? Everyone was doing everything during 2020. And so kind of with the new age of technology, what made you like decide like, you know, I'm gonna do a board game instead of like do an app or something, or something digital, right? That has more like technology in it.
Right. I feel like, I know for me personally, I like things that are tangible. Okay. Like I don't really like things like that are online, like even like for books, for instance. That's just like the first thing that comes to mind. I won't read a book, you know, online. It's just not something I do. I feel like I need the actual physical product. Like let me flip through the pages. So I kind of feel like that was like the same thing with the boards. At first, they were like the big dollar store boards that I was doing them off of. And so it was like, okay, people like these big boards, you know, so I started to think kind of like, what ways could I make it so that they could have it tangible? Like, I feel like online isn't the same type of like effect, I could say. Like, for instance, like I know like a lot of people, like for Christmas, like a lot of people wanted the game and stuff like that. And I was like, what? Like, this is on people's Christmas list? Like, this is dope. But it was kind of like, you know, I feel like, you know, you can't put something digital under the Christmas tree. Yeah. You know, it's just better to have an actual physical something. Okay. So I feel like, you know, that's tangible. Really kind of like what.
Do you plan on getting it in stores?
Yes, that's the goal.
What so, have you started or no?
I've tried like smaller stores, like that's around town. So there's like gaming stores. This is a whole new ball game for me. Like this is like I've been in places that I've never even thought I would walk into, to be honest. So like there's a lot of like gaming stores, stuff like that, I've talked to. And I've been trying to like target, like, I feel like I want to do like liquor stores. I have like a lot of good relationships with liquor stores, like already in my area, the homies. Yeah. So I feel like, you know,
plug
like,
on some Hennessy bottles.
Right. Like, you know, like go ahead and throw that up there with that. Like, you know, so when they see that bottle, let them see the Boardindahouse.
That's fire though. Now you definitely got to take some photos with the Boardindahouse and then the Hennessy bottles. Like you got to reach our culture. You got to.
That's what I'm saying. And I feel like that's really like, and with the big board games that we were doing, I sold like 500 plus of those. So it was like,
Jeez Louise.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, oh, this is a thing, you know?
What the fuck?
Right.
I feel like I don't even know 500 people.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? And it's really just word of mouth. And I feel like that's just like the dopest part about it too, because, you know, somebody sees somebody thing and they're like, oh, I want one for my birthday, or I want one for this, or this is coming up. And it was like I said, 500. Like I never in my life would have thought that this would be something that I would be doing. I'm keeping it a buck, you
That's
know?
crazy. How much do you sell them for?
Well, now the actual physical board game is 40. But
Okay.
are you talking about now, or are you talking about before?
Now. Well, and then
Okay,
what about before? What was it?
Before they started out, well, at 15, when I was, you know, just throwing it on my story, and once I saw it was kind of popping, it went up to 20, and then I think I capped at like 25. So 25 was a max for like the big boards. And at that time too, there was like so many people like that would go on trips or stuff like that, and they're like, oh man, they took my board at TSA, like, you know, I can't bring it on the plane, blah blah. And I feel so bad, like, oh, like, you know, so I
Why
started.
would they take the board? It's
That's what
wood.
I'm saying. I want to play it. They sell.
Yeah.
What?
What? That's crazy. Because
But
that
yeah,
is a great,
I-
like, to bring it on a trip. Like, could you imagine like going to Tahoe or like with a group of big ass friends, and then like just, you know what I mean? So that's
Yeah.
dope.
So that's why, and it's crazy. I did one for people. It's crazy. Every theme that I can think of, or that you can even think of, I've done a board for them. So it was like, this is so cool. Like somebody took a trip to Tahoe, and it was like the Tahoes. Like that was like like the time. It was like a girls' trip. They took the Tahoe.
Yeah.
So that was fun to even do too. You know, so
you know, you should maybe have an option to do. So I didn't mean to cut you off. You should have an option to do like custom. Like obviously that's what you were doing. But like when people head to your site, like all I saw was just the game. Like if you have an option to build your game, that like and charge like $75 for that, like or whatever, that's
it's
dope.
Coming, Juwan. Like because that was something, like I said, I felt like was very big, like, you know, like people, that's what they wanted, like, you know, their birthday, things like that. So that's definitely something that's in the works.
Yeah, like or definitely. Like even a cut, like Valentine's is coming, you better hurry up.
You know, I got something in the works.
Yeah. You better get that couple thing. I'm gonna need one. I'm gonna need a little Valentine thing.
Look, the Valentine's one is real. You know, that's for the freaks.
Yeah. So, hey, send that over here. I'll come pick it up. I'm 10 minutes away.
Right. Look, say less, because it's on the way. It's coming. So that's something. That's the next drop too. Like I feel like I've tried so hard to like move in silence, because with a lot of things, like I said, I was promising drop dates and stuff like that, and it's like something would come up. It's like, damn, like I told the people that it was going to be this day, but I kind of feel like, you know, now it's time to start, you know, now I feel like I have the recipe. So now it's just a matter of, you know, what image do I want? What image do I want? Like, you know, now I can switch it up a little bit. So I don't really have to work in silence no more. I kind of feel like with certain things. So saying all I had to say, like Valentine's Day one coming.
Yeah. No, I feel it. All right, for sure. I want to switch gears a little bit and get into the singing. So like, how long have you been singing? Like, what makes you want to kind of try it now? I mean, I know you talked about like, you know, I just got to stop playing at this point, but
that's really where I'm at with things like that. Like, I feel like, so I've been singing my whole life, but I've always my whole life, and I don't know, like I said, I don't know what it is, but I've just been very shy. And I think that's very hard for a lot of people to believe. That's what I was just about to say. I know like a lot of people are probably like, girl, like, you know, you're just saying anything, but I really am just shy. Like when it comes to singing, and I think it's because I don't have to be, but I feel like when I sing, I'm thinking about, I don't know, like, oh, I don't want to mess up a note or something like that. Like I don't want to mess up. So I feel like I'm hella serious when I be singing. So it just makes me, it's total opposite from, it makes me uncomfortable, basically. So last year, shout out to LaRusso. But last year I had went, because I had got fed up with myself. I'm like, you know what? I feel like I'm just sleeping on talent. So I hit up LaRusso to do a song. And I was like, you know, like, I heard you be writing, like, can you write me a song? And I thought it was going to be easy peasy. And then when I got there, it wasn't easy peasy. Like why
wasn't it easy peasy?
Because I thought I could, I mean, I know I can sing, but when I got in the studio, that was my first time, like actually like in a real studio. And when I got there, I was like, oh, this is what we doing? And I was like, I didn't expect, you know, for you to have a studio and everything here. And LaRosa was like, well, you had expectations. Like, what did you expect when you came here? So I got there and I got in the studio, and it was just different. Like, I felt like, you know, I sing all day throughout the house and stuff like that, but it was different. So there were some things that I learned, like about my voice, how to use my voice and things like that at that time. And then LaRusso was like, hey, you know, like I got this going on, like, you know, my good company, and you should come do a live session. And at the time I'm like, yeah, like, you know, what's up? I'm down. when I got in that car, Juwan,
Nervous as
like,
hell.
I was so nervous. I was like, oh, what have I done?
Yeah.
So I got home and started to practice and things like that. I was like, I'm gonna just try to do as much as I can. And the first time I got to my live session, it was a flop. It was a complete, to me at least, like Russell thought it was great. And I was like, look.
Wait, is it the one that was inside?
The one that was inside, the one that was aired out, the one that you guys saw, that was not the first one. It was technically the second one. The first one. And I was like, you know what, Russell, look, I just am not feeling like, I just was not feeling, I was just so nervous. Like I felt like my voice was super shaky. Like it was just horrible. And I'm like, I know I can do better. So the second time I went back, I was a little bit more comfortable, and like people was fucking with it. I'm like, okay, like, there's certain things I feel like as an artist or just as an entrepreneur, just whatever in general, like, you see things differently than other people from the outside see. Like I may be like, oh, I didn't hit that note, and people think it's great. Like this is awesome.
Yeah, nitpicky.
So yeah, very picky. So from that, it was kind of like, okay, like, people, I guess I can sing, I never had sang in front of I would play sing, but never really kind of like took it seriously.
Yeah. So have you done a song with him yet?
Not yet. And that's another thing too. Like, I feel like I'm trying to get better with my writing.
Okay.
Like, I feel like I know how to sing, but me writing is like,
yeah.
But again, that comes from that uncomfortable. Like, there may be some things that other people think is dope, and I'm like, this sound corny, or so that's just something I'm trying to do away with. And this year, I feel like I'm just really trying to, like I said, just explore all talents. Like, you just never know where it can take you. So it's kind of like, if I can sing and you feel me, the people agree, it's like, let's do this.
Yeah.
So,
that's dope. Yeah. Well, shit. Yeah. So what struggles have you found trying to sing? Like, obviously the trying to get over, the shyness, but what, like, in the industry, like, kind of just
I just feel like there's many but like certain things, like when I would make singing videos, like for my Instagram and stuff like that, I was able to take however many takes I wanted to do. Like, people would think it sounded great, but you don't know how many takes I had to do to get to this, to make it even sound like this. Mm-hmm. So I feel like
ain't that in life though? That's not just in music. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
people don't know.
Like they don't know, and I feel like now that I'm like older now, and now that I've been able to do, a live session, things like that, like I feel like just getting out your comfort zone is really like the biggest thing. That was a big thing for me, because I felt like there was things like I'd be like, oh, I messed up on the thing. Like, can we do it again? And I'd be like, I'm sorry, y'all. And Larissa was like, you don't have to be sorry. Like, you feel me? Like, you don't know, like, but I never had surrounded myself with people, creatives, like I feel like, or people that sing or things like that, to know like, this is okay. Like, if you're not messing up, like, this is normal. So that's definitely one thing. I feel like too, like, just getting like with that, kind of like the same thing. Like, I was recording all of my own stuff. So now it's like, to have another camera and somebody else, it's like, do you know my angles? Like, like my side view is just not my best view. Like, and it's like little things like that, but that's something I'm gonna have to get over, like you can't, everybody's not gonna be like, oh, okay, we'll do this over. Like, she don't like this angle. Like, it's gonna be like, hey, sis, this is what it is, and this is what it is. So that's,
you gotta find what you're comfortable with. I mean, like, think of like her, you feel me? Like, she came out and no one saw her, right? Like, it was like, I didn't even know she was from Vallejo until she came out.
Right.
So
and that was one thing too, when I saw her with her shades, because I was like, if I were to ever blow up, I always say, I would have like some shades on or something, so that way, I could just kind of feel like no one's looking, because that's another thing. It's like, you feel like all eyes are on you.
Yeah.
Like, And then, she came from the V and she had the shade thing going on. So I was like, all right, I can't do that. So
you got to find maybe a hat thing.
Right, a hat. Put a bag over my face. You know what? Like, I feel like, for real. So I feel like those are like the main type of things. Like, just kind of being able to get over that.
Yeah.
Which I'm still, learning. So
yeah, it doesn't happen overnight, for sure. Right. I mean, for me, I remember like, when I started rapping and stuff and started doing shows and going on the stage, it's like literally you feel like all eyes are on you. And I was like, I would never be one of those rappers who like wore sunshades at nighttime, like in the club, like, you feel me? Right. But now I see why though. Like, I see why some of them do it is because some of them are just, they're not, I'm an outgoing person too. So it's like, I'm not shy. So to be up there and just know that all eyes are on you, that first moment is very like, whoa, right? It's either you could go two ways with it. You can grasp it, right, and just make that moment yours, or you could really just like fold.
Right.
And like, just the more you practice like getting comfortable in those situations, the better you'll be, because like I love being on stage in front of people now. It's like my comfort zone.
What do you feel like you ever had a time where you didn't though? Like I know you said the first time was kind of like, but did you ever feel like you had a time where you didn't feel comfortable?
Nah, because even if people nah
just nah.
just because like I guess I worry about what makes me feel good as opposed to what everyone else is thinking, right? Like if I'm on stage, you're in these venues, and you'll get to this, like you're in these venues and no one is not into your music, right? Or because they don't know you. They don't, It's not that your music is bad. They just don't know who the fuck you are, and they don't want to root for someone they don't know. True. So you get there and they're just standing like, who is this nigga? Like, right? And you're like trying to make eye contact with them, perform and relate, and they're just like cold face. So like in those moments, it's just like, all right, it's not about you. I'm gonna be up here because you know what? Someone has their phone out, I bet, right? Someone's recording this, and this could go online or something. Or the headliner that I'm opening up for, his manager's in the back and he's listening to me right now. So like, I'm not doing this for you. Like, this is for me. I'm practicing. And so I just started thinking that, and I guess that helped me with like moving past the like uncomfortable stage.
That's a good way to think.
Yeah. You got to think about it like more with your future.
Right. That's true. I'm gonna have to use that, Juwan.
Yeah, when someone's recording you next time, when you at good company, just don't mind the camera, just like, and don't mind that like everyone's looking at you. Just be like, I'm here for myself, and I'm doing this because I know that the potential of this video going viral could change my life. So fuck what you guys around me think, but
that's true. You know what? That's a good one. That's a good positive mindset to think, Juwan. Like you sometimes like with that type of stuff, like just like you said, like stepping out of your comfort zone or exploring a talent, like it could just be. I feel like I overthink a lot too. Like gosh, like where I look, do I look at the camera? Do I look down? Like which way am I looking? Who am I singing to? Like, is it going to look awkward? There's so many thoughts that I feel like go through my head. It's like none of that.
None of it matters. And you're in the best company, literally. You're in good company.
Right.
And Lorenzo doesn't care about any of that stuff. So like
at all.
Like he wears sweats and a big ass puffy coat everywhere he goes, like in Crocs. He doesn't care. Like none of that stuff matters. So
that's true.
It shouldn't matter to you. But obviously that is hard. It's easy to say, right? But hard to like.
It's easy to say, but you know what? And again, shout out to LaRussell, because that was somebody who, like, even all the things that you just said, that was somebody who I feel like really implanted that in my head. Like, like he'll tell me like, look, it's all in your head. Like, like this is all in your head. You're making yourself believe these things that are not true, and stuff like that. So it wasn't until I feel like I started like thinking like that. Like I said, this was just like last year, but it wasn't until I started, trying to think like that, where I felt like, okay, I'm coming back. Because the old me would not have went back for a second. I did 3 live sessions. I would not have went back for a second one because I was just so nervous with the first one. Like even when I posted, I turned my phone over. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. Like, I'll check back in a minute and see what's going on. But that was, like I said, that was definitely something or somebody I feel like who really kind of like implanted that in my head. And I feel like it's true. It's all be in your head.
Yeah, it do. It's in your head. That's what the name of this episode is going to be. It's in your
all head. In your head.
Cool. I want to move on to the hella misguided section, where I ask the same question to each entrepreneur that comes up here, and that question is, if you were to write a letter to your 18-year-old self, what would a summary of that letter be?
Ooh, it's getting deep, Juwan. If the 18-year-old me, I would tell, like, in a summary, like, go for it. What are you scared of? Like, and the way that I talk to myself is like, I just be talking realistic. So this is really some things I would say if I write a letter, like, what are you scared of? I was so nervous. I'm gonna be completely honest. I mean, I know this is kind of not answering the question, but when I was 18, that's when I started posting my singing videos. And I would be so nervous, Juwan. Like I would have people post, like, like I'll have people post for me, like, act like you got this from our archives and just post. I was so scared. And it's like, what are you scared of?
Yeah.
So saying all I had to say, that's one of the biggest things I feel like I would, in summary, I would put to myself, go for it. There's no point of being scared. Believe in yourself. Really, just in summary, that's definitely 3 main things I feel like I tell myself, my younger self. Because at that time, if I knew that and if I felt that way, I would be a lot further right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be honest.
Yeah. No, I feel it. I said the same thing. Like, it's like, stop second guessing yourself, right? And just, it's the same with any business. Like I was talking to someone yesterday and they were asking me like how to start a certain business. And they were like, and I was just like, you gotta stop being in the research phase for so long, right? There's only so much research you can do. And even once you think you've hit I know everything now, you don't. And so I say the only way you're gonna really learn is to just go in it and fail and make those mistakes and learn from it, like head on, instead of trying to learn from others. Like a lot of people have been coming to me lately trying to hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I do right? And I'm like, you're asking all these questions, but what are you doing besides just asking me? Like, are you, like, because I tell you how to do it, and I say, hey, you got to go do this, and you're like, wait, what is this? I'm like, I can't explain everything. Right?
It's like Google is free.
Google is free. That's how I learned it.
Right. And that's another thing too. Like I feel like with people like that, like said, they'll come to you and ask you for things, but it's like, are you putting that work in?
Yeah, show me both, right? Like show me your work in, and then what is it? Not expedite, but like
I'll meet you halfway.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
like you got to kind of show me something. It's like, and then some people I feel like will ask, and then it's like you asking, but you're not doing. So it's kind of like it's just a waste,
Facts. Cool. Well, where did you first learn about money? How to manage it, how to invest it, how to save it? Where'd you first learn about it?
My dad is like a big money man. Like he likes money, he saves money and things like that. So when I was younger and I started working, he would tell me like different like saving tactics, but I was young. It's like, thanks dad, but thanks dad. Like, I'm not doing that.
You see these new Jordans coming out next week?
Right. Like I'm spending my money. Like, this sounds good, but whatever. Fast forward to what, 2 years ago? Well, really 4 years ago now when I had my son.
Okay.
You can't think like that no more. You got a kid, So the same tactics that my dad taught me back then that I didn't want to listen to were things that I had to actually implement in my life once I had a kid. And it wasn't until I had a kid where I got serious, about saving and things like that. So I feel like, definitely my dad, but definitely, took me a long time to.
What do you think could have helped you, like, because your dad was telling you, what do you think could have helped you change your mind before the kid? Could there have been anything, like if you would have like attended conferences or had like a mentor? I mean, your dad was kind of your mentor in a sense.
He was, but sometimes you have to hear things from certain people or different people to be like, okay, this is, this makes sense. Like, of course, I feel like with our parents or like siblings or things like that, it's like, okay, thanks. But then you'll hear it again and it's like, what, you right. And it's like, hey, my dad just told me that. It's like, so I feel like
maybe you're right, but my dad's not. He's a
right. Maybe my dad's not right. Like, he's just saying anything. I don't know. But I feel like those definitely would have helped me. But what's crazy? I went to like when I was younger, before I had my son, like I had a lot of friends that were like financial advisors and things like that. And I sat in those meetings, Juwan. And I came out spending the same money I was when I went in. I was like, you know what? This is a lot. So now that I feel like a lot of it comes with age too. When you're younger, you feel like, especially if you work and you don't have no bills, it's like, I'm buying whatever I want. Like, I can go to China right now if I wanted to. But I feel like a lot of that came with age and just being mature too. But I feel like if I took it more seriously, like the things that I was going to, I feel like, if I didn't have a kid, I probably would have a couple bucks saved up.
Yeah, I feel it. That's funny. Nah, I get it. And yeah, once you have a kid, it's like your whole mindset changes.
Whole mindset. It has to,
That's funny.
you don't have choice.
Cool. We're gonna start wrapping up. The way I like to wrap up the episode is with a segment called Guided Conclusions. And it's a question that I ask each person who comes up here, but it differs every time. So it could be funny, sad, it could be heartbreaking. It's something we didn't discuss before this recording. So are you ready for this question?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Shit. All right. It's gonna be one of the questions from your game board. I'm just playing.
Okay, I'm gonna run it high like the people be doing when they.
I'm just playing. All right. Where do you see the economy headed in the next 3 years? We've been through so much in the last 2-3 years. What do you see next for us?
I'm gonna keep it a buck. I think, like Mary J. Blige is going down. Well, that's not Mary J. Blige. But anyways, I'm going down. I think, you see where I was going with this.
I see.
I feel like, it's just a lot that happened, within, like you said, like this pandemic, just in general. And I just kind of feel like, well, you know what? I'm not gonna say completely going down, because they do have things like crypto. They have all of those things now too, which a lot of people are getting into. And I just kind of feel like, that's a good question, Juwan. Me personally, I just feel like it's going down. EDD, that took a lot of people's money. But I just feel like,
what do you think is going to go down in particular though? Like you think?
I just feel like, that's a good question. I don't know. I just feel like everything is going. Look, Juwan, I'm trying to.
You think we're gonna be on a lockdown again?
They don't have enough money to put us on lockdown again. So I definitely think, especially with all of these, they're shortening the quarantine, like all this and all that. It's kind of like y'all ready for us to get back out and get working. And it's like, I feel like that's kind of where it is with things. Like they don't give a fuck about us. Like if we was all to go to work and croak, they'd be like, all right, somebody else gonna have a baby soon. In a couple of years we'll have somebody else. So I kind of feel like they really just don't give a fuck about us, to be completely honest. I don't think we're going to be on shutdown again, because like I said, they don't have any. A lot of people pretty much, clean them out for all they have.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're not doing that again. So, and even with the president now, I just kind of feel like, he don't know what he's in there doing. He's just in there doing anything.
He's Sleepy Joe.
Yeah, he's just going to be Joe. So, I don't know. I don't really see it. I don't know. But I can't really speak on too many things I don't really know. But personally, I just feel like it's going down.
It's going down. It's going
down. Better save on to our bucks and stuff while we can. Yeah,
for sure. You want to drop all your social media and stuff for everyone to follow you and check out your singing videos?
For sure. So my personal Instagram is Breyanni. It's just my name. It's Bryanni. That's me. I got Boardindahouse, not Boardindahouse. Which is my Boardindahouse Instagram, and website. Check us out. Go play the game. Get a part of the game.
Definitely. Well, I appreciate you coming up on here today. This was fun.
I appreciate you for having me, for real. You ain't even have to do this. So I'm grateful.
Yeah, it's all good. Well, you guys heard it here. This is the Misguided Podcast. We intend to guide you to a better future. My name is Juwan. Again, I'm sitting here with Breyanni. Make sure you go check out Boardindahouse. I'll see you guys later.
All right.